Hello everyone. We've covered all the concepts of manual testing so far. Now we can come to the most interesting and important part of this training session, which is HP Quality Center. I'm sure everyone wants to learn this tool, which is very important in the software testing industry. So I will be covering the entire Quality Center tool in totally 6 parts. So the first session which I will be taking right now is the introduction to HP Quality Center. Okay. Now what is Quality Center? Okay. So Quality Center is a test management tool. So you have one-stop shop for managing requirements, test cases, the test lab where you can execute test cases and also link defects to your test cases, thereby linking them to requirements. So it is a tool which facilitates organization and management of all application testing activities. So it is a very valuable tool to learn, right? There are 5 key modules in Quality Center. Before we get to the tool, it's important to understand this. So the key modules are releases, requirements, test plan, test lab and defects. Now what is a release? Okay, every software application which you will develop and test will be divided into releases. So every release will have a specific set of software which you software requirements which you will be incorporating in, and those are the requirements which you will be testing for that specific release. And we have discussed this in our previous sessions, where we said that every release can have say up to 3 cycles. So the first cycle you have a probability of finding more defects, and cycle 2 a little less, and cycle 3 even more less, right? So you, what is the testing stage for the release? It is specifying the releases and testing activities, identifying it, and requirements. So all the requirements which are frozen between the client and your organization are stored in Quality Center. So it's easier to track the requirements to your test cases to ensure that all requirements are covered, and from test cases you can verify in the test lab, which is execution, and you can link it to defects as well. So the third key module is test plan, right? That's where you create your test cases. The fourth module is test lab, where you actually execute the test cases and record your actual outcomes against the expected which you had already designed in your test planning phase, right? Defects is obviously self understood, right? So it's for logging defects against the test cases which you've already executed. Now we already discussed this. Why Quality Center? It's because it's easier to manage and track, and it's one place where you have all the tasks and activities of testing together. So you can look at requirements, you can look at test cases, you can look at the test execution which has done, what stage are you in your testing, how many test cases per tester are left, and how many defects you have logged, which requirements you're finding maximum defects. So it's a easier way to track and figure out how testing is going on. So that's why Quality Center. Just to recap the process, so which we had discussed earlier. So it's you specify requirements. Based on the requirements, you create your test cases. From the test cases, you create something called a test set, and you decide which test cases you are executing in this specific release, and those are the test cases that you execute in execution of tests, right? So from there you go to defects. So basically from the test case that you executed and the planned and the actual and expected outcomes do not match, so those are the defects which you log in Quality Center. and thereafter you can create reports and graphs, right. So, these are the 5 basic modules which QualityCenter has, which I have defined for you in the previous slide. Just for a quick recap: releases, requirements, test plan, test lab, and defects. The additional modules are business components and dashboard. Generally, we can create requirements in QualityCenter and link the requirements to the test case and manually write each test case step by step. Don't worry, I will be covering that in my next sessions as to how you will be creating a test case in QualityCenter. But just to understand, you can manually create the test case in QualityCenter, right. But sometimes it is not always possible to do that. So, you may have created your test cases in Excel, for example, and you want to directly upload those test cases and not do rework of rewriting the entire set of test cases. So, in that case you can upload test cases from Excel or Word into QualityCenter, and for that you will need specific add-ins. Okay. So, if you want to upload Excel documents, you need the Excel add-in, and if you want to upload Word documents, you need the Word add-in, right. Now, coming to who uses QualityCenter, just to clear some confusion on this, HP QualityCenter is a test management tool. It is part of their application lifecycle management tool, right. So, it's actually an end-to-end application and QC, and it's called QualityCenter and ALM. Both of them are the same thing. Basically, it's a test management interface. Who are the people who are going to use this interface? It can be the developers, it can be business analysts, it will be the testers definitely, and there will be developers who look at it because of the defects we log and the screenshots we provide them, the test cases, and apart from this, even the project managers and product owners also will be looking at this interface. This QualityCenter or the application lifecycle management tool, it has been developed by HP, right, and this is version 11, which I am going to take you through. When you load QualityCenter when you load QualityCenter, this is the screen which you can see this is your main login screen. So, you will have a login ID and a password to enter here, and the domain and the project which is created by the administrator. Coming to what the domain and the project is in the screen which I just showed you of QualityCenter. Every organization may have multiple domains where they will be having projects in. So, for example, you have banking, insurance, retail, manufacturing, etc. And in banking, you have maybe say 3 projects or 4 projects, or insurance has say 10 projects. So, you want to segregate based on domain and then based on projects. That is why you have an option over there of selecting which domain and which project. So, it is a way of segregating it so that every domain and the project is segregated, and if you do not do this, then you will have too many projects which you can't manage. So, this is just a way of classifying that. Now, this is the main login screen of QualityCenter. So, you have the domain and the project here, right. So, you have to enter your user ID and your password. So, when you do that, you can select the domain and then say the demo project which we are going to use for our creation of test cases and the test lab, etc. So, and then you click on login. So, this is HP QualityCenter. Welcome to the world of HP QualityCenter. Right. So, this is the main screen which you can see when you log into QualityCenter. You have dashboard, you have management, requirements, testing, test plan, lab, right, and defects. So you also have releases like we discussed earlier. So you have releases and cycles which you can define here in QualityCenter. So this is the main screen or the main dashboard which you can see when you log in based on your user ID and password. We also have the requirements tab here, where you can load all the requirements which you have in your project. Then you have the test plan section where you will create the test cases for your project and then run them in test lab, and whatever defects you find you will be logging them in the defects tab, right. So we will take the next session and we will take the how to create a test case and how to execute the test case in a lab and how to log defects in the next session, right. Thank you.